Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Not a lot of building in this one, more orientated towards the MGL users. I've also got my iPad installed and going through the programming of the IEFIS. Now I'm the type of bloke that struggles with my phone, to be honest, but trials and tribulations, we got there in the end and I think I'm progressing well. Hope you enjoy this one. Okay, nice early morning knock at the door. Mail time. So this hopefully is my iPad to go into the panel. This can go one of two ways. Just open it up here, well packed. So this is a, if you didn't follow in the last video, it's a what do they call it? Refurbished iPad 6. Needed to be 9.7 inch to fit into the Guardian mount. Nice Apple packaging, which have got to be top class. Receipt and one iPad. With a charge lead. Plenty of covered in fingerprints in these COVID times. It's nice, but the big test will be, and that's a relief, iPad installed. Fantastic. Alright, is this building? I'm not too sure, but if it helps someone out then it'd be great. I wish someone had a sort of put this on YouTube already for myself. So installed the MGL into my aircraft, and now as you can see I'm on the MGL homepage on my desktop computer inside. Now there's a simulator. It took me ages to actually find this, going through this page, so I'll just run you through how I install the simulator, and my computer keeps trying to kick me off and tell me that it's one of those bad programs, I guess. And not being a computer geek myself, I struggle with this sort of stuff. But from the MGL home screen, firmware, IEFIS G3 firmware, IEFIS G3 updates. Click on that, takes you to this page, and download the matching IEFIS simulator, approximately 4 megabyte size. Click on that, and then down in this left hand corner, down here, over here, IEFIS simulator was blocked because it could harm your device. So click on that. I'll just click on keep. So ignore that first warning. This app might harm your device. Show me more. Read the warnings. Keep anyway. And then this comes up. So what do I do there? I'll just click on this. Windows protect your PC, so it's still trying to help me out. More info, run anyway. And do you want to allow this app to make changes? Yes. I'll just close this back screen. And then you'll go through the installation, which is sort of the stuff that I was after, nice and simple, like any of your phone apps, etc. Next, create a shortcut on the desktop and put it wherever you like, and I don't mind. Finish. Another warning. Process failed, request operation is elevated. Get rid of that. Now up in the top left hand corner I've got a shortcut. Click on that, unknown publisher, and up comes the IEFIS simulator, which is fantastic. So that took me about 3 days to work all that out. Now from there I'll just change this to a Challenger, which is what I have, and it says next time I open it, so I have to close it down again, and now it'll open up as a IEFIS Challenger. You can pick the one that you've purchased. Now that's great, I'm on to the Challenger. So from here, the whole idea of this simulator, you can make it fly and things like that, but you can actually change whatever you like. My main concern is I just want to set it up to my aircraft. So a 6-cylinder, 6 EGTs, obviously 6 CHTs. I've got oil pressure, oil temperature. So you can change everything on here, knots and miles. So this is, you can see at the moment, I'm not sure if you can see, but the airspeed's in miles per hour. So for argument's sake, because I've been playing around, I now know I can do this on the simulator here. System setup menu, system units, speed units, it's in miles, click on that, kilometres and nautical miles, and then exit out of that, and now it's at reading 218 knots. All these buttons down the bottom representative of what's in the aircraft. What you can do with this is there are plenty of videos on YouTube of how to actually change it. It gets very convoluted, but change the mode up here to design. Put this over here, you pick a module. So say I want to change the, let's go something simple, the fuel module. Let's just go 2 tanks, continue. It's just the fuel module down here. Now I can actually, if I want to delete that one, I won't go too far into it, but it gives me the power to simply delete that. And then when I come out of it, I'll delete one of the bar graphs and it's gone. So you can move around and do that quite simply. When I say simply, the issue I find with that is when you go into this file manager, this box comes up, you have zipped files, and I don't fully understand it, to be completely honest, but I do know, I can click on my desktop here, and it looks like something's gone wrong. Just stalled the computer. There we go, desktop's come up. So if I was to plug in a, there's my desktop, your USB, sorry, your SIM, what is it, if I was to plug in an SD card over there, that would appear here, and I can drag whatever files across there, and then you plug it into your aircraft. What I'm using with the simulator is just to play around. So for argument's sake, I'm going to go out tonight. I need 4 CHTs down the bottom here. I need oil temp, oil pressure and RPM, that's all fine. I just need to somehow get 2 more CHTs, and I just want to change it to 2, keep it simple, 2 fuel tanks to start with. The issue I've got here, when I do finally go flying, if I'm not meticulous with this and set, it's got alarms and everything in there, so I might take off and I'll have a high RPM alarm when the engine's actually fine. Test flying a new aeroplane, the last thing you want is alarms going off, so you need to set up your stripe tapes, if you like, the green arc, amber arc and red arcs. So what I've discovered, once again, quite a few days doing this, but on this screen here, let's start with the fuel, and if I remember how to do it rightly, so menu, on the menu button down here, up to system setup mode, system setup menu, and scroll right down to the bottom, and standard system selections. Good example, not available because we're in flight. This must be a bug with the simulator. It thinks we're flying because we're doing 218 knots. Fairly believable. So sensor simulation up the top, RDAC 1, no, sorry, sensor simulation, show pressure sensors, and you just got to drop all these down, and then that'll stop the aircraft from flying. See the airspeed's dropping now to 0. I'm not sure why, I just stumbled across that. Now back to where I was. Menu, system setup menu, and I'll go right back to the start. Menu, system setup menu, standard system selections. Now, fuel tank, 1 tank. Click on this, 2 tanks, you got a selection there, 1 tank with fuel flow, 2 tanks with fuel flow, 1 tank fuel pressure, You get my drift. 1 tank, fuel flow and fuel pressure. So I'm just going to keep it simple and go 2 tanks. Done. Engine, it actually had Rotax 912-914 standard layout. That's what the default is. I'm after so that's 2 to 6 cylinder, oil temp, oil pressure. That's what I want. Now if I click out of this, boom, you've noticed it's changed. I've got fuel level, and I've made a bit of a faux pas there because in my example before, I deleted the bar, so that's now disappeared on the fuel. And if I turn the RDAC on up here, those red arrows go away, so now it actually gets a reading. So I've now got left and right hand tanks. I can play around. I probably want those running vertically, but it means I need to transfer data from the computer to the actual IEFIS in the aircraft. So for now, I've got my 2 fuel left and right hand tanks. I've got 6 EGTs and 6 CHTs. Oil temperature, oil pressure, RPM. I can live with all that, and the rest of the screen doesn't look too bad. Some of this other stuff, weight and balance, electronic circuit breakers, I could probably delete and get rid of. But for now, I think I'll leave it as is. So that'll do me for now, that I know how to set it up for my Jabiru 3300 6-cylinder engine. I can change the units if you like, so feet per minute, knots, litres, inches of mercury, or the other one, pressure. And later on, I think I will, so I don't have ADS-B, I don't have a transponder up the top here, so I may have to do that through the simulator to delete those. I'm not sure what some of these things are, so I don't like the clutter, and so autopilot over here can get rid of that. ECB can go, probably keep those GCB ones. So we'll just tidy that up. So you get my drift. So now I'll go out and try to just fix up what's in the aircraft with what I've just done there. Alright, all powered up. Got my iPad in. Photo of Roger Dubert over there. So Roger's my pin-up boy at the moment with the Zenith CH750, the factory aircraft. The iPad's in and charging, and that'll run off the avionics switch, well, the charge anyway. Obviously it's on battery and then it's on charge. Now with this IEFIS, it's funny, I've got this aircraft, I don't want to sit in it. It doesn't feel right sitting on these bits, they're a bit, till I get the seats in there. And with no engine weight, just being on a tail stand down the back there. Try not to climb in and out too often. But we'll have a go at this, setting this up. Alright, I'll put you over my shoulder and just see how we go with this. So you can see here, I've only got the 1 fuel, 6 EGTs and 2 CHT. So from what I learnt on the menu, system setup, down the bottom, standard system selections, engine, 2-cylinder, 2 to 6 cylinder, oil temp, oil pressure, yes, fuel tank, we'll just go with 2 tanks, now hopefully, and there we go. So no indication left yet, but I've got left tank, right tank. My header tank I'll class that as unusable. It's there if I need it. 6 EGTs, 6 CHTs, oil temp, oil pressure, RPM, and I'll set this up. So definitely a lot easier inside on the simulator. Come out here and that seems to have worked straight away. I think I'm going to have to learn how to use the SD card to get rid of some of the transponders and things I don't want at the top. You can, there are other screens here if you weren't aware. Obviously when I load the maps I'll get a GPS hooked up. So you'd probably potentially fly like that with mainly the map when you're on a cross country, and then when you want to come into land you already know where you are, so go back to page 1 or you can just go the 6-pack as they call it if you like, something like that. And all these screens I could change. Alright, so now I just want to go through and change my oil. I'm going to change my oil pressure, oil temperature, CHT, EGTs and RPM gauge. It's the equivalent of putting the stickers on the gauges, so the red and amber areas. What is critical here though, when the day comes and I do take off, I don't want alarms going off. Say I get high oil pressure, the first thing I'll check is the parameters I've set in here, I guess, because it may not actually be a high reading. So you want to be a bit meticulous here and get it right, because you could have, for argument's sake, high CHTs purely because you've set it's, you know, set the upper limit at 20 degrees or something. So what I've learned so far, we go into the menu. So down here, menu, system setup. Engine monitoring setup. Second one, set up RDAC1 probes and senders, and we'll start with oil pressure. So oil pressure setup, and the data I've got off the simulator, I know I need the range up the top here to be 145, 0145. That sets the gauge, the parameters if you like. I've got a high pressure of 80, 0080. The caution low pressure, just get rid of that checkbox there. Caution low pressure needs to be 31, which it is with the box checked. As you check these boxes, it'll obviously, that means it's selected. And alarm lower limit of 11 psi, and lowest for the display is 0. So now I should, it hasn't changed on this screen yet, but when I exit out of this, I should end up with a pretty good oil pressure. So it's in the red to start with, then it's in the amber, and then it's in the green running range at the top. So happy with that. The needle will be somewhere up towards the 12 o'clock position in the green. Now we'll do so back in for the oil temperature. I might just do all of these before I exit out of it. System setup menu, engine monitoring, set up RDAC1 probes, the second one. So oil temperature, I need a high of 150, highest temperature for display, 150. Alarm temperature so if I get to 100 degrees, I want the alarm to go off, 100, or turn red. Okay, crisis averted. The battery went flat. So now I've bumped it up to, I'm using a 4S LiPo, which is about 14 volts. Should tell me down here. So on the bus I've got 13.5 volts. A little bit of a concern. So where did we get to? Oil pressure is right back into oil temperature. System setup menu, engine monitoring, oil temp, high of 150, alarm temperature 118 with a tick checkbox, low temperature of 50, and a caution temperature of 100, which is what we've got. So let's do the next one while we're there. CHT setup, highest temperature for display. Because I've done this on the simulator, 220 works well for cylinder head temps. Alarm temperature of 200 with a checkbox. Caution temperature of 180, 180 checkbox. And lowest temperature for display of 40. And we go back to EGTs, and I've set these up so the lines will be level, even though they're One's 600 degrees for argument's sake and the other one's 180 degrees, just for a visual appearance. So EGT, highest temp of 800, click to change that, 800. Alarm temperature of 750, 750. I can fine tune these once I actually sit down and have the engine there. And cylinder temp, caution temp of 700, which I've got, and a low temp, lowest temperature for display of 300 for EGTs. And last one, RPM 1 setup menu, 100% scale at 3300. The scale of 4, so you can have anything, but you want to use most of your gauge, so we'll go 4000 RPM. The high alarm at, so if we go above, I want to know if I go above 3300. Might be a bit too infinite. Let's go high RPM. Let's go 3400. Just on takeoff, you don't want the RPM flashing or the alarm flashing at you, I assume. And a low RPM, low caution level, no. Lowest RPM for display, well, at idles at 1000, so I'm going to just say 0 for that. And we'll see what we get. Exit, exit, exit. Alright, just one final check. So I'm pretty happy with my parameters I've set up along the bottom there. I'll need to work on, I haven't got input yet for amps from the generator. So I put it into demo mode, so we're actually flying along at the moment at 94 knots with a ground speed and true airspeed of 94 knots, so it's a calm day. Got our heading, our rate of change or climb. So now also down the bottom I've punched in money. What I'm looking at is what I've just changed. So I think we're flying with a Rotax engine at the moment, not 100% sure. Anyway, we're doing 2500 RPM, which is fine. It's in the green arc. I've got that set for 3300, so that's registering. I've only got half a PSI of oil pressure. So that's, I assume that's indicating it's in the red. I'm expecting oil pressure between 31 to 70 psi. And oil temperature, it's reading high, so it's in the red, above 100 degrees. I want to know about it. It's at 116, and you can see my CHTs are just changing around, but they're about 120, which is fine down here, and EGT of 670. So that's how I set up my IEFIS. Alright guys, thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed that one. Just wanted to get across, I guess, you know, I'm not a computer geek, but you do have to sort of learn. It is fun learning, but using the computer a fair bit to work out what you need. Reach out, there's plenty of forums out there, etc. Looking forward to getting my engine and my engine mount, get back on the spanners. But for now, we'll leave it at that. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to shoot them through. Please also remember that these videos are generally a couple of days behind or a week behind sometimes. So I might ask a question. I'm not ignoring you. I love the comments. However, you know, I might say, how am I going to do this? In the meantime, I've already gone and done it. And in the next video, someone might have commented to say, use X, Y, Z. I've gone and used A, B, C. I appreciate your comments. However, sometimes you just got to make your own decisions, forge your own path, move ahead. Thanks for watching.